The first reason why your visa will be denied or will be disqualified is the fact that if you are not recognized or accepted into a DHS approved institution. And what does that mean? DHS means US Department of Homeland Security. Should be in agreement or should be able to certify the school that you are going into. So an approved DHS institution means an educational institution that has been certified by the US Department of Homeland Security through its student and exchange visitor program, meaning it is authorized to enroll international students and issue them the necessary documentation to study in the United States. Essentially, it is a school that meets the government standards to accept international students. So once your school meets the government standards of accepting international students, it means you are qualified to enter that institution. So that is the first thing that the VOs are always looking for, right? And the moment you go, you do your security checks, the first thing the VO asks you or the consular asks you is your passport and your Form I-20, because they look at it, they check whether your school is actually a DHS approved institution. Now, the second point that I have here is has present intent to enter the United States solely to pursue a full course of study at a DHS approved institution. So here is intent of study or purpose of study, which is also very, very, very imperative when it comes to you going for your visa and it being approved. You always have to show purpose of study. Why did you choose this program? Why are you going to pursue computer science? Why are you going to pursue public administration? Why are you going to pursue international relations? You always have to let the viewers know your purpose of study, because if you're not able to show or explain why you chose a specific program, then they might not approve your visa. So sometimes maybe you did um, journalism for your bachelor's and you got accepted to this school in the United States to go and do public administration. There has been a switch from journalism to public administration. And you always have to let them know why that change, right? You always have to let them know why that switch. Sometimes they might ask you, sometimes they might not ask, but you always have to know how to explain and let them know why you are going to pursue a particular course. And sometimes people go and they get their visas denied because they were not able to explain why they chose a particular program. And once the consular sees that, they know it's either someone applied for you or you don't even know what you are going to study. So purpose of study is very, very, very important, and you have to let the viewers know that. Now, the third point that the viewers are always looking for, the consulars are looking for, is has sufficient funds to cover the first year of study. Also very important and very crucial when it comes to you getting your visa approved. You always have to show proof of funds. You always have to show proof of funds. And I am repeating that because it gets a lot of people like denied most of the times. Like always people go and they get their visas denied because they were not able to show proof of funds, right? And coming to the United States to study without any form of scholarship can be very, very troubling, honestly. It can be very tedious for you. Some people have this idea, oh, I don't have funding. Once I come here, I'll be able to get funding in my second year or even in that same first year. No, most of them allocate their funding opportunities to students in that, year, in that semester. So you come and all the funding opportunities are not, you might get a job, you might get a place to work, but mostly those jobs are just going to give you like stipend and it's not really going to cover for your tuition. So the viewers know what goes into some of these things, and they know that approving your visa without any form of scholarship or funding will put you in a very tight corner. So always make sure when you're applying to schools, you are in talking terms with your department or even external funding opportunities, just to make sure you have some form of funding, because it makes your visa approval easier. Or even if you don't have funding, you always have to prove to them that you have a sponsor who is going to make sure your education is sorted in your first year, right? And most of the times, this get a lot of people denied because a lot of people don't know how to explain how their sponsors are going to fund for their education. So the moment the view finds out you are not really explaining to their very interest how your sponsor is going to take care of your deficit, they will not give you the visa. So that is something that you always have to pay attention to. I got admitted to University of Colorado, CU, and I got a fully funded scholarship. So I was not really disturbed because I knew 99.9% my visa was going to be approved because my department took care of everything. I didn't have any form of deficit, right? So, it gives you that confidence even if you're going for the visa interview. But as compared to someone who is going for the visa and has zero funding or like has zero scholarship or sponsorship, it makes it very difficult for the VOs to approve your visa. But I don't want to create this impression that if you are going for your visa interview and you don't have any scholarship or any form of funding from the school, you're not going to get your visa approved. No. There are a lot of people who go with huge deficits, but they are able to explain to the VOs how their students are going to cater for their first year or their 2 year master's degree. And people go and they get their visas approved. So don't let this get into your head like, the fact that if you don't have scholarship or funding from the department, you're not going to get your visa approved. That is totally false. So just take note of that. That is also very, very important. They always look out for that. Has minimum preparation for the course of study and sufficient knowledge of English to pursue the intended study. For evidence, the school is aware of the lack and will remedy it. So that is also the fourth point that the viewers are always looking for or they are looking at in terms of your English capabilities, right? So you can't be going to the United States and you don't have mastery over the English language. That is why most schools are able to provide what we call the English proficiency, which certifies that you took the courses in English. Your bachelor's degree, your diploma, your HND courses were taken in English, right? So the VOs always also look for that. The fact that you are able to express yourself, the fact that you're able to articulate yourself, the fact that you are smooth with whatever statement that you are making on that day. It's not always going to be smooth. I didn't get it smooth. And even as I'm doing this video, sometimes, the filler words is going to come in, right? So the filler words is there, but you always have to make sure you are minimizing it. You always have to make sure it's not being dominant in the way you speak, because if the filler words become dominant in your kind of speech, then it means it might interrupt the smoothness of whatever message that you're trying to send across to the view. So that is something that you should also take note of, the fact that you're able to express yourself. Sometimes there are ways that you can express yourself. It might not be smooth, but you should always ensure that there is clarity, there is conciseness in whatever message that you are trying to send across to the viewer. Then the last one that I have here is has present intent to leave the United States at the conclusion of studies. When it comes to home ties, when it comes to your non-immigrant visa status, means that once you are done with your master's or PhD or postdoc, you have to come back to your home country, right? So if you go for your visa interview and you are assuring the viewer that you are not going to come back to your home country, then they might not give you a visa, right? Sometimes they might even ask you, so if you are giving a job offer or an opportunity in the US to stay, won't you stay? Sometimes, in rare cases, they can ask those questions. But in my next video, I'll answer how to go about such questions, because it is very, very, very dicey. And if you don't take care, you might commit yourself and you might get your visa denied. But this is very key, and I want you to pay attention to it. Your visa is denied because you are not able to show home ties. You are not able to prove home ties. The fact that after you are done, you'll be coming back to your institution to take a higher role. The fact that, oh, you have a wife, you have a kid, and the probability or the chances of coming back to your home country is high. Oh, you've traveled before to UK, to Canada. Oh, okay. Then it means you might not overstay in the United States once you are done with your master's or PhD. So the views look at all these factors, and based on how you are going to articulate your ideas and how you are going to send your message across, then they'll be like, okay, I think this guy, this lady is really showing home ties, is really showing the fact that once they are done, they are going to come back to their home country, because that is what the F1 visa status demands. So once you're able to show or prove that, then they give you the visa. So these are the 5 things that might get your visa denied. I try to explain them today for you to be able to know, so that if you are going for your visa on the second attempt, you will know that your purpose of study is very, very important. proving home ties, very, very important. The fact that when you are done with your master's or PhD, you're going to come back to your country, and also showing proof of funds is also very, very important. Those are my 3 takes from these things that I read. Once you're able to show this to the VO has no choice than to. Thank you very much for staying tuned. Bye.